Hey everybody, it's Haley. Welcome back to my channel. We are going to be diving into kind of a two-part video. I'm going to wrap up April and I'm going to show my May TBR kind of hopefuls. Now, April was kind of a fast month for me and kind of busy, and so truthfully, I only read 4 books, like finished. I did start 2 more that are going to be kind of flowing into May, so May may be kind of a larger wrap up, but at least for April, of ones that are done and checked off the list, there are 4 to talk about. And then obviously May, I'm going to kind of share my hopefuls for May. So let's kind of go ahead and dive into the wrap up first. Now, I started the Edge of Darkness trilogy and I got through 2.5, and that's where you will see the third and final book in my May wrap up. But I got through the first 2 and finished them, and I'm so excited that I started this. Insatiable is book 1. I'm not sure if it's like coming through super clear. I might just like put a picture of the cover up here. But basically, Edge of Darkness is a dark romance, go figure. But it is a trilogy, and it does have kind of like a precursor to the MMC's Parents, which I think is called Psychotic Obsession. It's a series by Leigh Rivers. And I was very curious about this because I started hearing just so many people talk about it, and I've heard of Edge of Darkness for so long now. I finally dove in, and I'm so glad that I did. I have to say, it's interesting, like thinking back to the first book, Insatiable, it really does an interesting job of just kind of like getting you involved and invested in the characters. Like Stacy is the FMC and Cade is the MMC, and basically they meet as kids. They definitely are kind of like unique in their personalities, so they kind of form this connection, and basically they date kind of under wraps because she is best friends with his sister, twin sister. And so basically, like, they have this secret relationship. They break up because of, I would say, like a big event, but also just like a whole cluster. It is a disaster how their relationship kind of ends. And you find out more and more and more about it as you read further. And that's where I say, like, it just kind of hooks you by getting you invested. And it kind of picks up where now they're starting to kind of jump into adulthood and they're back together, kind of forced proximity almost. But they hate each other, sort of, kind of, not really. And as the book goes on, book 1 is just like throwing you breadcrumbs, like tidbits. Every once in a while, you get a little bit more info about what's going on. And it started out to me being kind of like, okay, I guess it's a dark romance because of their relationship dynamic. Like, they hate each other, they're kind of mean to each other, whatever. There's obviously kind of a traumatic backstory. But then as you get going and you realize by the end of book 1 what's going on, you're like, oh my gosh, I see why this is dark romance. There's such a like bigger like subplot going on as well. So of course, as soon as I finished Insatiable, I jumped over to book 2, and I did rate Insatiable 4.5 stars. Like, I kind of sat on it as well. I didn't rate it right away on Goodreads. I thought about it for a minute, and I actually waited till I finished book 2 to rate it because I was like, okay, I don't want to say it's 4 stars. I don't want to say it's 5 stars. I kind of want to see how I feel after the second book. I went with 4.5 because, again, it is kind of just a breadcrumb trail to begin with, building on them. And then you get so much more out of book 2. And so I'm sitting with 4.5 stars, and I'm good with that for now. Now, book 2 is Voracious, and this is where like the plot just comes in so much. Like, you're hooked on Cade and Stacy. As far as I'm concerned, you're hooked on them from book 1. You're like, okay, I can subscribe to the characters. I can subscribe to all of them, even like his parents, their friends. I do have to say, I am a way bigger fan of Cade's friends than Stacy's friends. Honestly, her friends kind of bothered me, especially Cade's sister. Cade's sister just kind of, I don't know. I know she's going to be involved in future books, and I'm trying to be patient with her. But as of where I'm at right now in book 3, partway done, I'm not the biggest fan of Stacy's friends, but I love Cade's friends and I love his family. I don't want to speak too much on Stacy's family because like you kind of got to sit through it, but her family, dumpster fire. And we'll leave it at that. Dumpster fire. And it's so weird because like out of them, Stacy's definitely the more stable one, right? But like her life is more dumpster fire as far as just like relationship dynamics appear in friends and family than Cade. And I say that super lightly because then he has outside of friends and family, like as far as, I don't know, I don't want to call it employment. He's getting paid, but I don't want to call it his employment. Basically, what he gets roped into, it is a nightmare. So it is so wild because like very different dynamics of friends, family, work, just a million different things going on. Let me tell you, Voracious is where things just pop off. And you're sitting here by the end of this book. So by the end of book 1, I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, I can still kind of see where this is going, whatever. But by the end of book 2, you're starting to realize like where we're going. And you're just like, this is gonna hurt. This hurts. It hasn't happened yet and it hurts. And that's where we're at. So this was 4.75 stars. And you're like, okay, well, why not 5, right? Like 4.75, it just was not quite 5. And I'm so hesitant to say that because I really did enjoy it. I just feel like since it's book 2, I feel like I'm gonna like book 3 more. So it's weird to say that this is 5 stars if I feel like I'm gonna like book 3 more. And as someone who is already partway through book 3, I think I will stand by that, but I don't know, I'm just guessing. And this is why sometimes I kind of hold off on my ratings till like I'm done, especially if it's a short series like this and I'm just powering through, because I don't know. Like, what if I come back and change this? I might. Maybe you'll see my May video and I'm like, JK, this was 5 stars and the other one wasn't. But as of right now, Voracious is 4.75 and we will see on book 3. But if you are even remotely a dark romance fan, I would say, obviously check your trigger warnings, I feel like with any dark romance, but I would say this is definitely one to look at. If you're even like slightly intrigued by it, if you've heard about it at all and you're like, I kind of want to see what this is about, I think it's worth your time and I would recommend it. But it is a dumpster fire in a lot of ways. And I mean that in the best way possible because nobody's reading a dark romance for it to be like an open shut case, right? Like we're reading for a dumpster fire and that is what you're getting. But it's a good dumpster fire. So do it that way you will, but that's where we're at. Okay, this next one, guys, I have to shout out Mariana Reads. If you watch her on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram or wherever you're getting your bookish content, I hope you're watching her videos because she gives out some really good recs sometimes. And let me just tell you, I read Close to You, which is by, it's either Nisa or Nissa, I'm not sure, but her last name is Renzo. And let me tell you, I know I was kind of hung up on Edge of Darkness, like 4 to 5. This is 5 stars, in my opinion. This was so good. It is like a new adult romance, young adult, new adult. It's not YA, but it's like, I don't know, they're in high school, so do with that what you will. It's like new young. It is going to be a book series. And to me, as someone who has started Boys of Tommen, I can tell you that this series to me is very similar in how I feel about the characters and about the plot and just about the overall vibe. Those 3 things fully align with Boys of Tommen for me. Now, there's obviously some glaring differences. Their backstories are different, the location's different, the exact relationships are different. But let me tell you, if you've read Boys of Tommen and you're looking for just, again, that vibe, I would highly recommend you dive into this book. It is the first book in this series and there's no other ones out yet. Book 2, I think, is in the works. It's called Through the Years. And basically, it is about this girl, Milo. And I don't want to spoil a single ounce of this because as you read the story, everything comes out in perfect timing, but basically Milo doesn't talk because of some trauma she experienced when she was a very young girl from her dad. Her mom is not in the picture, and basically she does not talk. Now, there's some circumstances that happen and she gets adopted by a family, and I'm being careful with my wording because it is seriously that serious. she gets adopted by a family and they have 2 sons. And of course, one of the 2 sons basically is the most amazing human being ever. For her, to her, just, yeah, it's great. His name is Ashby and he is perfect. They are Johnny Shannon coded if I've ever seen it. Like, they're so sweet and their story is not done. I do believe this is going to be, again, kind of like Boys of Tommen, where each couple gets like 2 books. And so I'm really curious to see, obviously, kind of where this leaves off. It's not a total cliffhanger, but it's definitely not like all totally wrapped up, I don't feel like. And there is some Friends stuff where you're like, whoa, these people are going to be having a book. And again, that's just so Boys of Tommen. So I don't really like to super closely compare books, but I do have to say, again, vibes only is what I'm talking about. Plot, not necessarily, not any of that. Specifics aside, this book is so good. It does bring out the emotions. Like, there is a lot of trauma that the characters experience, especially in their childhood, and just their relationships and the dynamics. The weirdest thing about this book is you've got friends involved who are so funny. They've got great banter and dialogue. You've got her friends, his friends, like, everybody has that found family vibe that is so good. And you do have like one set of parents that's kind of, obviously they are both, you know, living with the same parents, but it's not their true parents. And just like watching the found family that develops throughout this book has me so excited to continue on with this series. It was like probably the easiest 5-star I've given this year, just because it was, well, that's not true. But it is definitely one of the best 5 stars I've gotten this year. It's a strong contender for the favorite book of the year so far. Just because it's, I don't know, there was a lot to it. It was emotionally complex, and I like that. I like when there's happy, there's sad, there's serious, there's funny. Those are the types of books that I love. I kind of get in that feeling if it's always the same feeling throughout the whole book. I feel sometimes I can kind of peter out by the end of the book, but when it's back and forth, it just keeps me engaged so much. So highly recommend it. Now, those are the 4 books I read. They actually, funny enough, are also all contemporary books, which I think is so interesting. I've been on kind of a fantasy kick, and then they're all contemporary. But anyways, we're going to get into my May TBR, and I have a couple of books that I'm putting on there for sure, and then I'm also going to draw a couple prompts, and we'll figure out what could fit in with that. To start off my May TBR, I have 2 books that I'm putting on there that I would really like to get to. The first one is Brimstone, which I am reading this for another video that I'm filming. So this is very high on my TBR. And obviously I will for sure make sure to get this done by the end of the month. I'm actually hoping to get it done maybe in the next couple days. So this is definitely the very tippy top of my TBR to start with. And then the second book that I really want to get around to is When the Moon Hatched. The reason being, I know the sequel comes out to this this month, and I have really wanted to read this book, and now that book 2 is coming out, I just feel the pressure. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't put this off. But I also don't want to, like, I don't know, chain myself down to a book that's this thick as like a have to. So I'm definitely going to put it just on there as a hopeful. I'm not going to beat myself up if I don't get to it. It could easily slide into June, but it's on there as a hopeful. Now I'm going to pull out my jar and let's see what we can get for the rest of our TBR. Okay, it has been a minute since I have filmed a TBR video with my jar, and I really want to get back into it. I have a lot of books that are on my physical TBR. I have like even more books on my Kindle library that are sitting there, and I'm really trying to hit my TBR hard to minimize that a little bit this year and just make room so that I can add to it without feeling guilty. So I am going to try really hard to pick books that are on this shelf. And just to update, so these shelves right here are unread mostly, but I do have a whole other shelf over in the other corners. So we will have quite a few options to go through. Now, I think because I already have a few things that I plan on finishing, I think I'm only gonna pick maybe 3 prompts just to not pressure myself too much. So let's see. The first prompt is, ooh, okay, a really good one for me because I love this. Come on, here we go, here we go. A book with multiple POVs. You guys, I love a multi-POV book. I do not like when I'm stuck in one person's head the whole time, most of the time. Now, if I was gonna look at this, I would say most of the books that I read fall into that category, truthfully. A lot of them are multi-POV. Now, there's a few on here that I really want to look at though. So, Shield of Sparrows is one that I really want to read. Now, I know that I have 2 fantasies that are already on the list, so I do kind of want to be mindful of that. I also really want to move to the next book in Boys of Tommen. And you guys, it's not nearly, Saving 6 is way shorter than Binding and Keeping 13. And I know it's dual POV. Oh, should I do it? I feel like I should do it. Okay, for the first prompt, a book with multiple POVs, we have Saving 6 by Chloe Walsh. I'm so excited to read this book. Truly, I'm excited. So that is an amazing start. Let's draw our next prompt. We've got 2 more to do. I really want to get more into TBR jar videos. Let me know if you guys are like really over them, but I personally love them and I want to get into them more in the next like couple months. So, ooh, oh my gosh, these are like all the best prompts too. Oh, I love this. Okay, a book I think, oh, focus, we got it. Book I think I'll rate 5 stars. I'm so excited because there's so many books on my shelf that I think I'm gonna rate 5 stars. I'm really trying to only buy books that I think will be 5 stars also. Oh gosh. This is so hard. Okay, I know I just said I don't want to, I know I just said I don't want to add another like fantasy series, but I'm really considering doing Shield of Sparrows. I actually don't even have the physical book in here. I have Rights of the Starling here, but I just barely started it in April. And again, it's one that I didn't finish. And it was so good to start with. The audiobook is so good. There's a dramatized one on Spotify. I think I'm gonna do that for this one. I really do think it's gonna be 5 stars. I'm gonna be kind of bummed if it isn't, but I'm gonna put that for 5 stars. And then let's go ahead and do our last prompt, which is hopefully another good one. Those first 2 were great. Ooh, okay. Significant other picks. I would love to do that. My husband isn't home right now, so I could ask him to pick and then come back and add this. Maybe I'll do that. Should I pick a 4th one just cause we have to wait? I'll wait till he gets home and I'll ask him. But let's pick another one and then I'll have 4. And if I don't get to them all again, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. But let's just pick another one while we're here. This is going to be kind of hard. A male author. You guys. Ooh, a male author. I'm gonna have to go look. Okay, I went over to my other shelf over there and I'm so glad I did because there is a book that immediately my eyes, the first one I landed on, and it's a male author. It's A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. I have wanted to read this book for a long time. I picked this book up like years ago. And I think this would be such a good one. I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. And it has been on my shelf for a really long time. I've actually never read a Frederick Bachman book either, which is crazy. And I would love to remedy that. Also, because I have some like thicker, heavier, very kind of dense books. I know this is emotional, I think, but it's also like contemporary. It's 337 pages, so not the longest book ever. This might be a really good one to read. I think I'm gonna add this on here for a book with a male author. I'm so excited about that. Okay, so we have A Man Called Ove. I'm pretty sure it's Ove. I thought it was Ove, but then I've seen other people say Ove, so let me know. But we've got A Man Called Ove for a male author. We have Saving Six for a book with multiple POVs. We have Shield of Sparrows for a book I think I'll rate 5 stars. And then when my husband gets home, I will have him pick out another book just to add on there for another title. All right, it is a couple days later, and my husband, I finally remembered to ask him to pick out a book for my TBR, and this is the one he picked, The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. And funny enough, I'm pretty sure he picked it because the cover, because he looked at the spine and it's got the pretty green with gold. But I actually got this book with him a couple years ago when we did kind of like a bookstore day. He took me to a bunch of bookstores. And so I don't think he remembers that this is one of them, but it is, which is just kind of funny. But I'm really excited to check this book out. I know really nothing about it other than reading just the little blurb in here. It is YA, I'm pretty sure. It's a 17-year-old girl, and from the sounds of it, like her mom goes missing. She's looking for her missing mom, and her grandma, they're like at her grandmother's estate or something like that. I don't know. It sounds really interesting to me, but I really know absolutely nothing about it. So and it's kind of fun to go in blind. And I honestly think this is probably the perfect book to add, because if I think of my whole TBR, there's some like very long and kind of intense fantasies. Obviously we have Saving Six on there too. So, and then A Man Called Ove. So some very deep, like kind of, I don't know, heavy books. This, while yeah, her mom's missing and all this, it is YA, I'm pretty sure. So those always for me read fairly light. And it's not the longest book ever either. It is only 355 pages, so not super long, and they're not even like super dense pages. So this is a perfect book, honestly, for him to pick. I'm glad he didn't pick a super long one, because I have some on my TBR like alchemized that he could have grabbed. And so I'm excited to check it out, see what it's all about, and give you my thoughts.